It is semi-supine, so knees are not with your feet sort of jammed into the backs of the sit bones. So you want to slide your feet forward so that the thigh muscles can just relax down. That kind of depends on the length of your femur bones. And your arms can be kind of settled onto body, or they can be laying beside you. If you need to bring knees into chest and just give yourself a little rocking massage first, that is also fine. I would avoid full shavasana at this point because that might mean that you drift off too much. And remember that the benefit of this pose, constructive rest, is that your sit bones can spread out and your body can yield down to Mother Earth. So please find semi-supine. And we're starting with deep connectivity to the breath body, to the breath energy body. Remember that as you undo tension, whether it's tiny, like a little area of your collarbone that feels trapped, or a little ache in your foot, or whether it's quite a large chunk of tension, like the whole of the low back or back waist, realization of where that tension is and where it's starting from is really part of the key to you uncovering more and also having trust in that awareness, so that you want to be feeling in tonight's practice that the realm within which you inhabit your body is a safe place to be. So it feels like perhaps you're starting from a point or a place of comfort, and you might want to remain in the comfort zone all the way through this evening's yoga. First of all, can you enjoy a long, slow, deep breath in? Pause it for a moment, and then slowly exhale away. As you experience 2 or 3 more breath cycles, allow them to be just a tiny bit bigger than normal to help you connect to breathing, to conscious yoga breathing, or to what we would say is a somatic experience of that breath, that felt sense of the breath. Receiving a full inhalation, swelling, pausing, and then long releasing. If you can, of course, notice shoulders melting away from your ears, shoulder blades widely releasing, arms relaxing, hips and pelvis relaxing, then that would be ideal. So see how well you can give permission for your body in this evening pose to drop down and yield and surrender. In somatic principles, we move with the least possible effort. We try and stay within a comfortable, easeful range of motion, and always being aware of what is happening inside, so the internal sense of movement and the internal sense of breath. So right now we're connecting the two. As you breathe, can you feel the ribs swell? Even have a sense that each rib bone is like a finger gently caressing your breath. And please introduce that deeper sense of mindfulness to your practice this evening. It is our brain to body that resets our felt sense. So if you can also observe that you're moving without pain. So please, no forcing of anything, no need to strain, just staying in that lovely sense of hugging yourself with your movements, soothing yourself with your breathing, trying to let a crowded mindset and crowded brain thinking just dissolve away, so that the most important priority right now is you caring for you. Deep sense of self-care. And of course, you are going to be open to hearing some of my guidance throughout the practice, but also, in order not to sort of trigger any stress in your body, I hope you found for yourself a quiet space within which to practice this tonight, because you want to adopt a sense of non-reaction to external sounds. And I appreciate that many of you have got children or you've got other household members in your home, and there might be noises around you, but try to not let any sounds create a narrative in your mind or an undue disturbance. We want to register input from our sensory organs, but without reacting overly to that input. The more that we can connect the brain to the breath and the mind to the movements, really helps us to withdraw energy from an overthinking mind and an overwhelming mindset. So let's begin now to move. And the first movement is often just known as easy floor twist, but I'd really love you to stay connected to that heavy pelvis, heavy buttocks and heavy sacrum. So you're lying down and your knees, of course, are pointing to the sky. You can move your legs together if you wish, or you can widen the feet so that they are mat wide. Remember that you're lying down, and I'm just going to show you, if anybody's unclear, that simply, I would love you to just roll the legs over to the right and breathe and roll the legs over to the left, and be in no desire to create an end game for this movement. In other words, if your legs flop by about 3 or 4 centimeters, that is absolutely fine. And can you allow the pace of movement to be your own pace? So if anything, if you've been rushing around all day, let's move into a really soothing, slow motion. So simply, as your knees roll left and right, keep observing your breath. And then as you observe that motion that starts in the knees and the legs and of course the pelvis, can you sense how the chest and the ribs are also participating? Can you feel as the weight shifts across the pelvis and the back of the hips and the sacrum? Can you observe that little reciprocal energy of massage happening in other parts of your back? And then begin to involve the head. So would you like your head to roll in the same direction as the knees? Or would you like your legs to roll right and your head to roll left? And what are you noticing about the quality of that motion? And please, just 2 or 3 or 4 times more, staying in a smooth, effortless range. You feel the whole length of your spine. And can you feel your shoulder blades, back of your skull, the back of the feet, the heels, the whole of the feet, and the back of the hips and pelvis. And then bring yourself gently back to center. And then house your awareness down into that pelvis, into the root, into the Muladhara, into the Swadhisthana, into the sacral area again in the tail. And note your feet. Press all of the toes and the forefeet down into the mat and hold briefly, and then release your feet slowly. And then press maybe the back of the feet, the heels down a little more. So just become more sensitive to your feet and whether you can have equal resting of the feet, or if your tendency is to be light in the forefoot or heavy in the forefoot. And notice that. And of course, adjust the feet and the distance of the feet from the sit bones if you're not connecting well enough to your feet. And then with that brain and mind resting in the pelvis, roll your tailbone away towards the feet, which of course promotes the arch. Breathe in, pause, and as you breathe out and exhale, roll your pelvis, tucking towards your ribs, and create that flattening action. So remember that there is no lifting of the buttocks. You're simply arching on your inhalation and flattening on the exhalation. So the pelvis is tilting forward and then tucking back. And I like to imagine that the base of the buttocks and pelvis is just like a rocking chair, like the runners underneath the rocking chair. And notice if you feel accessory motion in the head, because that's correct. It's correct to kind of roll that pelvis first of all. So once again, a motion that starts in the pelvis begins to connect through to the middle back and the back waist, and then through to the arch in the neck. So can you notice how as your pelvis arches, the chin draws towards, inwards, towards the notch in the collarbone, and the back neck lengthens. And then as you release the pelvis to midline and then tucking, flattening your back more firmly into the mat via the abdomen, the chin floats away and it lifts away and the neck arches. So what happens at the lower end of your spine? Well, the opposite is occurring at the upper end of your spine. So please don't try to create this flow motion. Simply embrace, enjoy, and raise awareness as the spine undulates along the earth. And just to help you with that a little bit more, imagine a clock face on the back of that pelvis underneath you, and the tailbone is at 6, and the navel, top of the pelvis, if you like, is at 12 noon, and you're rolling between 6 p.m. and 12 noon. But if you're particularly perceptive of tensioning along the left side of your lumbar or the right side, you might notice that you don't really roll to 6 p.m. That in actual fact, when you arch, it's not uncommon for pelvises to tip slightly towards 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So in the next couple of movements there, in somatic arch and flatten, can you please refine your awareness and notice if you're meeting with 6 p.m. at the tail, or if you've diverted a little over to the left pelvic half or the right. Exhale fully as you flatten. And inhale, fully swelling and really feeling the ribs expand as you arch. And then settle down to earth now, finishing the one that you're on. Softening the front ribs down to the back body. And then simply fold your right thigh into the chest. Make sure the lower leg is just dangling out. Hold the back of the thigh on the shin, but remember we're not going to use or invite any tension around the arms or shoulders. And then slide, if it's okay to do so, your left leg long and down the mat. And as you inhale, exhale, just draw the thigh of the right thigh down towards the ascending colon. So you're compressing the right side of your body. And the knee of the right knee might be folded quite deep. It's coming towards the right collarbone or the right shoulder. So let that be felt and enjoy. And slightly draw that right thigh towards the right side of your body if you wish. So that can be really deep compression, or you can just create some space there. Lay your left arm open if you don't need to hold the leg with both arms. And then relax here for another breath. Notice what's happening in the left leg. You've pressed and lengthened it away. Now let it completely relax like a full, heavy Shavasana leg. And then let the right palm rest on the knee of the right knee. And lovely how that forms almost a cup and saucer action. So the knee is like a cup landing in the palm saucer. And then circle your right hip. But can you keep everything else really, really still? So let this be your femur bone circling inside the hip. Very lazy motion, just let it be super soft, maybe just 3 or 2 times in each direction. Quiet softening of the jaws, perhaps closing your eyes. It's not uncommon to hear little gurgling sounds in the belly when the rest and digest state is happening. And then fold your left thigh in, and you might again want to gather it in, and you can let the legs just fall apart. And if you want to, your big toes can touch, but essentially I wouldn't even try to do that. I just let the legs and the feet fall apart. So it's like a really relaxed floating butterfly. If it is relaxed, it is calm and held there. And then rock gently from side to side. So rocking over to the left half of the pelvis, rocking over to the right half. And if you don't need to hold the legs apart, then you can just place your hands down and rock that way without holding those legs. And then slide the feet down, come back to supine semi. Now take a moment to let that left thigh fall into the left side of the chest or ribs, holding with both palms if necessary. And then slide your right leg down the mat. And soften again. Relax the collarbone, spread the back. As you swallow and close the eyes, let that thigh draw in deeper or move a little bit to the left. And remember that these are subtle poses, but at the same token, flexibility and mobility is enhanced when your mind is in the relaxation response and in a really deeply relaxed state. So now with that right leg long and with that left knee into the chest, gentle stirring of the left hip with the left hand cupping the knee, quietly absorbing, hopefully what is for you, a lovely glossy action. And then folding again, both thighs into you. And the legs can stay together with the knees drawn in, or you can widen out. And this time, rolling in a delicate, gentle circle. So a pelvic clock. Now, if your motion is hampered in any way, then return to semi-supine. Knees can come together if you wish. And imagine again, 6 p.m. is on the tail, 12 is up by the back of waist or navel. Therefore, 3 and 9 are on the left and the right hip. And with knees together or feet apart, or the legs drawn into you, trace a clock face underneath you. And of course, you want to be finding that you massage to 3, 6, 9, and 12 clockwise, and then you pause and draw your circle in the other direction. And really, this is the most delicious way of giving yourself a massage. Again, across the sacrum, around the buttocks and the hips and the pelvis. So enjoy. Super, super slow motion, pelvic clock with feet down or with knees in, or a little bit of both. I would actually think about exploring and inquiring into pelvic clock on both of those. And what is a good thing to do is maybe pause at the segment. If you cut that clock into 4 triangle chunks, almost like a clock-faced cake, if there's one of those triangle chunks that doesn't feel good or needs a bit more of your nourishing attention, then pause there and just kind of wiggle into that segment and let the tissues release more definitively. Now we're going to be coming to a side lying, and I want to invite you to roll onto your left side. And if you have a pillow, I've just got my yoga block here, but if you've got a nice cushion or pillow, you'll be gathering your knees in once more and rolling to lay on your left side with your left cheek on your pillow block. And then, of course, you gather your knees to stack, almost like you're sitting in an upright chair. And your left arm is hopefully just laying out in front of you in a really soft, soothing way. So this is the kind of setup that you want to observe, and you'll be also observing this on the other side in a moment. So I'm pretty sure you can manage to just lay on side lying and be supremely comfortable. And roughly you are stacking shoulders and stacking hips. And what you're going to be doing on that sideline, remember you're lying like this on your side, is you'll be placing your right palm on top of your forehead. So you'll notice that your palm neatly just rests onto that forehead. Yeah, and then relax your shoulder and your elbow. So this is a lovely somatic motion to help you feel better about the connections between the head, neck, collarbone, shoulder complex, and also into the ribs. And you can involve hips very little or a little bit more than that, yeah? So in the first practice, simply with your right palm on your forehead, roll inwards, and you can let your elbow just touch the left arm or touch down. And then roll upwards. So as you're using this right palm very gently as a guidance, and as you draw the head upwards, you'll be looking up to the sky for a moment, and I would certainly open your eyes at this point, and then begin to roll to the right, just enough. And likely for most of us, there'll be a point where you feel a little bit stuck, especially if you keep your knees really glued together and that right hip stuck there. And this can really help you free up the ribs. But like I say, if you want to involve that hip gliding as well, then as you open a few times more, slide your right hip, and it will slide with the opening, and your right elbow might land on the earth, and look into your right elbow if that's okay. And then just slide everything back, and as you slide back, your knee will also slide and glide, and you'll be able to roll in and down, and it almost be facing into the earth. It's almost like rolling off the edge of your block or cushion. So let's try that with a beautiful coordinated breath. As you breathe in, roll up and open, and the head, neck, shoulder, elbow flows glossally, carrying the hip as it slides. Pause, and then exhaling as you roll everything back and release. Breathing in, slowly glide, enjoy. And by the way, if when you get to your opening phase, you want to release your right arm all the way open and take your right hand off of the forehead and extend, then that's also fine. But for some of us, this kind of guidance with the hand onto the head, it really can feel most soothing. So 3 or 4 of your lazy arm openings, yeah, with guidance from the hand on the forehead. And then you're lying on your side, yeah, so it's the right arm. I would love you to just float the right arm up to the sky, and then lift and drop that arm a few times, and then create a circle. So let it circle around once, maybe twice. That circle can be really, really small. And then drop your arm down and roll onto your back. And as you roll onto your back, lay the arms out. Inhale, exhale. And notice what has changed around your whole breath. In a relaxed body, breathing calms down, and this correlation between the ability of yourself to release tension from the physical body creates a releasement of tension from the mind. So please notice your ability to really focus on being here now in this moment, and continuing to let go. And when you're ready, please now roll onto your right side. So therefore, your left hip is on top. Get yourself comfortably organized. And stack the knees approximately in line with the hips and shoulders stacking. And we're going to place the left palm to rest onto the forehead. And then roll the head in and down towards the mat and soften. And then very slowly as you breathe in, roll head, neck, shoulder open. You might look up to the sky, and it's fine to not move much. And it's also fine to roll the left rib basket open and pause and notice that you can look with eyes open into your left elbow. Lingering there and savouring that sensation, and then rolling back. And you'll continue patiently 2 or 3 times more. And remember, you can also open your arm fully if that suits you. So let yourself enjoy and really connect to how much glideability is happening in your breath and your ribs and your shoulder and your hips. So we get this deep body, whole body connectivity happening in the practice. Let yourself stay aware of your breath and motion, remembering that sometimes less is more. Really allow yourself to enjoy that sense of completely opening out through the fingertips. And then lying on your side, when you're ready, that left arm will float up to the sky, and just couple of circles in each direction and some lifts and drops. So it's almost like reaching and dropping, reaching and dropping, and we call those shoulder drops or shoulder slings. So enjoy either the circles and the shoulder drops or both of them, both circles and then the drops. And then roll to your back, rearrange your body, and shake out your arms very loosely. And then, according to Shavasana, the relaxation pose, shake out your legs, shake out your feet and toes. Now, it's not uncommon to notice a little arc in the low back creeping back in. That's not wrong, that could be your skeletal structure, but you might want to just lift the pelvis and roll it away again, or if necessary, you may want to return to kind of semi, which is the constructive rest pose that we started with. Now, again, I would love to invite you to close your eyes. There's nothing to see now. We say that the ears listen more when the eyes are closed. Is that true for you? And as you lay here now, first observe that the back of your head is fully supported, whether that's through the mat, blanket or Mother Earth, or whether you've laid your head onto a pillow. Observe all places of contact and pressure. The back of your right shoulder blade. The back of your left shoulder blade. And are there any differences between the left and the right shoulder? Between the right and the left shoulder? Can you allow a sense of heaviness to pass across your upper back and shoulders? Or is there a sense of lightness there? Now observe your arms. Can you feel them from the inside and be aware of their length? Feel the length of your right arm from the shoulder to the wrist and fingers. And then compare sensations to the left arm, from the shoulder to the fingertips. Does one arm feel longer or heavier? And if the sensations are neutral, that's fine as well. Now scan the whole of your spine, from the base of your skull, down the back of your neck. Feel the arc or no arc, and pause there. Perhaps feel the amount of space between the neck and the earth, or if you're lying on a pillow, perhaps the pillow is filling that space. Can you release the neck a little bit more? Can you release the front of your neck? Can you release and relax your throat, your chin and your jaws? What is going on in your face? Can you soften the temples, corners of the eyes and the eyebrows? Remember, no holding of your breathing, but also no efforting. Adopt a connection to natural, easeful breath flow. Coming back to your spine, follow the thoracic spine down all of the rib cages, if you like, going between the shoulder blades. And feel which parts of your rib basket are fully resting on the earth, the mat. And breathe in and around the ribs. Again, can you let the lungs expand lightly? Do you sense any difference between left and right chest? Is it comfortable to breathe here now? Know that pain disrupts your breathing. And if you can learn the skill of deep quality relaxation, your mind and body will benefit hugely. Now let's notice the lumbar arc or the lack of it. When you are more rested and your belly drops and spreads, then the lumbar arc will lose maybe some of its tight hold on you. So can you feel, where does your arc begin if it's present, and where does it end? Pay special attention to the sacrum and the spreading of the pelvis and the buttock bones. Any difference between the left and the right side. And then follow through to the length of your legs, softening out the groins, the thighs, backs of the knees and fronts of the knees, and down to the ankles, feet and toes. If your legs are long, pause at the feet. Is there equal weight through the left and the right heel? Are you noticing the outer edges of your feet? Can you feel your toes spreading and softening? Scan your whole body now. Is there any secret place that needs your love, your care, your attention? Let that happen now. Go there. Stroke yourself from the inside. And now simply rest in the breath for the last couple of minutes here now. Observing breathing as it comes and goes, flows and flows. moves without control. We hold our bodies all the time. But we can either hold tightly or we can loosen our grip. We can soften the way that we carry ourselves. We can let go of the fight and the flight and the freeze. It's such a relief to surrender and let go fully. Now, quietly opening your eyes delicately. Possibly roll your head left and right. And remember, when we move mindfully, it's about increasing awareness and releasing resistance. So as we come to close this Monday evening state of blissfulness, exit with super supreme care. So perhaps come back slowly to supine semi, knees bent, feet flat, or roll to your side again and rest on your side for a moment. And gather your body quietly and carefully to come to sitting. And take your time. Eyes are open. Many of you have got low lights on, which is perfect. Bring your palms into your heart. Give thanks for showing up for this tonight. It's so important for your whole system to appreciate times of deep rest. And I